Alright, good afternoon, everyone. Today is June 28th, 2020. It's Sunday, a little bit about a quarter to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And appreciate that you have come back to my channel and checked out some of my new videos. I do appreciate that very much. If you are a subscriber to my channel already, I do appreciate you very much as well. And I encourage you to keep coming back, sharing videos, and let me know about your personal experiences. I do appreciate that. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please leave those in the comment section down below. I'll see about getting those answered in a timely manner. If you have not subscribed to my channel, however, you did find this channel through a search or a recommendation or something like that, I do welcome you, of course, and I do encourage you to subscribe. If you press on the small bell icon just below the right hand corner of the screen here, that will go ahead and allow you to join my channel and subscribe to my channel. Anytime I put out any videos in the future, you will then be alerted through an email or some type of text message that I've uploaded a new video to the channel. So, today, this is probably going to be a long video. I was thinking about doing it in 2 parts, but I want to make sure that everybody gets the information regardless. But we're still going to the back to basics again, and this is going to be part 5 in our back to basics series. We're discussing obviously skill sets that every magician or magical practitioner needs in order to become successful with their practice. So we are talking about developing our magical senses. Okay, so we're going beyond our physical senses here, and we're going to be talking about all 6 today. All right. So in today's society, of course, today's modern world, information is moving rapidly across the internet, and what was once obscure knowledge, say 30 or 40 years ago, that only certain people knew or certain cultures or groups knew, a lot of information now is very commonplace. Okay, 30 years ago, 40 years ago, if you wanted to learn something, particularly something about the magical arts, you didn't have the internet. You know, in most cases, you probably didn't have much contact with people who already knew that type of stuff, unless if you were born into a family that practiced that regularly. But pretty much you either went to a store, either a bookstore or an occult supply shop, you bought some books, you you took them home, you read them, you maybe did some spells, you did some rituals, whatever. Something worked, something didn't. You either continued the practice or you didn't. It is what it is. But some of today's cultures and societies that didn't have this type of information, again, because of information is just so limited and obscure back then, are now, or they didn't have it because they considered it too taboo, or the information was just shunned. Again, thanks to the internet and the speed at which information travels, and all this information overload that we're getting, those societies have now changed. Okay, and our culture as a whole has changed, and the way that we see and digest information and share information has obviously changed. So it's a very big part of our lives now. So again, basically everybody has access to this information now today. So unless if you live in some crazy country that likes to censor their internet, China, for instance, or you're living off the grid somewhere, most people again are going to be having access to this type of information um, across the globe. And let's face it, folks, when it comes to the magical arts, particularly the left-hand path, when it comes to magical arts, a lot of people are lured in by the promise of whatever, fill in the blank. Power, they want money, they want sex, they want women. Not a bad thing having sex, women, and money. I mean, at least in my eyes. I don't know about anybody else's. But, I mean, there's other reasons for practicing magical arts as well. We all, we're looking for, we're all looking for different things, and yet we're all looking for similar things, in the same sense. But when one is told that you can literally have almost anything that you want simply by lighting a few candles and maybe saying some arcane words or whatever, a lot of stuff just happens. A lot of images just start to happen and flood people's minds. And so what happens is these people are pulled into it by this temptation and these promises, which generally are accurate for the most part. There's no lie behind that. I mean, you obviously have to work to get it. But in this quest for power, of course, people often forget to do things properly. Okay, so they decide that they just picked up a book and they start looking through it and they're flipping through pages and they say, "Fuck this! I'm going right to spirit evocation," and they start setting shit up and they start doing all these elaborate rituals. And most, if not all, they hope to get some type of quick result. They figure, if I can get this to work, I'll be set. And what happens is they end up skipping over like all this preliminary stuff that they should have been doing, breathing exercises and developing their psychic senses, their clairvoyance and their clairaudience, and doing their meditations and all sorts of other things, and they don't realize that all these little things are like the foundation to a lasting magical practice. Okay, so they want something quickly, and they forget to do the basics, and in the long run, the practice suffers and it fails. And certainly you might have one out of 1,000, a couple of people out of 1,000 that might be able to make something work without doing the preliminaries. That's probably not too far fetched. But in the long run, it's just not possible for it to be sustainable at that point. So, again, is it true that magic, especially left-hand path magic, can make a lot of things happen in a short amount of time? Yeah. It depends, again, just how far and willing you're wanting to go in order to get it. Okay, but lacking the proper skills of foundations will leave most of these practitioners disappointed. Okay, and of course, in that process, they'll find some way to blame the magic, for it not working, or for the reason they're not getting what they want. But and in that blame that it's the magic's fault that it's not working, they're not going to take responsibility and say that hey, I fucked up. I didn't do stuff in the right order like I should have. But, regardless of what magical path you or I or anybody else follows, again, the journey should begin with the developing of these magical senses, all these skills, our meditations, again, our body positions, our breathing, our meditation, our meditations, developing our psychic senses, and not everybody's going to develop a lot of these things. Your basic Wiccan that just wants to do candle magic and stuff like that, they're probably not going to develop clairaudience, or clairvoyance or anything like that. They're not doing spirit evocation. So some things they're just not going to develop. They might do so, like as a side study. They might develop certain things, or if they practice certain things like scrying or tarot reading, certain things will develop over time. Clairvoyance, particularly, but not everyone's going to go down that road. But again, they are basic skills. So you need to develop those basic skills based on what your magical practice is. Obviously, if you're looking for the higher magical arts, the evocations, the invocations with gods and spirits, and you're wanting to do other stuff like that, yeah, this type of stuff is going to be needed. So develop those skills, as we develop those magical senses, all the other things become possible at that point. We're talking like things like astral travel, spirit evocation, scrying, and all that type of stuff starts to open up, and it becomes easier for us in order to develop those later on, or to continue to develop those later on. So, as a human race, or as a race, we're born obviously, and we don't have all of our senses, necessarily right away. But as we grow up, we learn to use our physical senses: our touch, our taste, our smell, our sight, our sensing, our hearing. We learn how to use those over time, and just like anything else over time, especially our magical senses, these need to be developed. Okay? So when we visualize and we imagine the sensation of having something that we truly want, like the car, the house, the relationship, that's all well and good. But when you start to add in other senses, the touch, the taste, the smell, what does your lover smell like? What's the physical sensation of that relationship that you have with that person? How does that car smell? What different things like that. When you start adding in these magical senses to your visualization, your sensory perception changes, okay, and becomes much more real. And the more of these things that you can add into your visualization, the quicker some of your results are going to come about. It becomes much more real for you. And yes, obviously our magical senses, it's just not being applied to visualization. There are other things involved in other areas that impact us by in our magical studies by developing these skills. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go through each one individually. I'm going to talk a little bit about each magical sense, how one might go about developing it. I'm going to give you a little bit of a meditation. Most of these meditations you can complete in, say, like a 10-minute or 15-minute segment. Some people might spend a little bit more. Depends on you. Okay, so obviously what you put into it is what you're gonna get out of it. So I'll kind of what I'll be doing is basically breaking the video down a little bit at this point. So the first one we'll be talking about is clairvoyance, which is our psychic sense of sight. I'll talk about it, give you the meditation, and then when we get into like the next one, which is clairaudience, I'll kind of break the video up a little bit. So each one kind of has its own little segment, so they're not running into each other too much. Okay, so like I said, this is going to be a long video here. Just kind of bear with me. Obviously, not all of these are going to be of interest to everybody, but as long as I would at least recommend you go through at least the first 2 or 3, which is like clairvoyance, clairaudience, and then I'm trying to. You got your psychic sense of smell and then taste, and anyways, we'll cover all that type of stuff. So give me just a moment. I'm going to pause this video at this point, and then we're going to get into clairvoyance and how to develop that. All right. Alright, and we are back with our Back to Basics video series, part 5. And we're talking about developing our magical senses. This first one is going to be on clairvoyance. Yep. And clairvoyance is our psychic or magical vision, the ability to perceive beyond our physical, or with our physical eyes. By developing this, we're able to see extrasensory vibrations of energy. And again, for those of us who are practicing spirit evocations, this will become an important skill for us. Okay, often we hear about people saying, "Hey, you need to open, your third eye. You need to open your Ajna chakra to see these evoked spirits." With our eyes. And of course, again, I've stated before in other videos, this is where, probably like 85% of our magic happens is right, in through our third eye. Again, so developing this ability goes beyond our limits of perception. Skills like remote viewing are also developed through the use of clairvoyance, along with scrying abilities, being able to see past, present, and future. Tarot card reading will help with this as well. Interactions with astral beings, again through evocation, and much more will have a role on developing our clairvoyance. As we develop our clairvoyance, of course, we will begin to receive a lot of psychic impressions through our other senses as well, not just through our eyes and our third eye, but our sense of smell, our taste, our hearing. All these psychic senses are obviously should be developed as well as you go. Generally, though, when it comes to clairvoyance, the other skill that is often developed along with it is clairaudience. Okay, and when we do a spirit evocation and we're successful at manifesting that spirit physically, of course, we have a tendency to see them first rather than actually hear them. And that sense of clairaudience, or that sense of hearing them, is usually distorted in the beginning. It does become sharper and clearer over time. I'll cover more of that when we talk about clairaudience. So, but again, those two have a tendency to go hand in hand in the beginning of any type of developing any type of magical sense at this point. So the meditation regarding clairvoyance. Now, a lot of this type of stuff you can find along the internet. You're going to find a lot of this information through books. It's out there. Again, you got to look for it. I'm not quoting any particular one book or any or style at this point. So if something seems similar to something else, like another style or another method, it's just that information's out there, folks. You have to again go ahead and dig for it and find what you're looking for. So, anyways, a lot of people will experience results with this for the first time when they do this meditation, and when you do properly focus here, you should be able to perceive astral energies, shapes, and colors in a very natural way when you are developing the skill. Okay. Most of these meditations are going to require very simple tools. Obviously, you need a candle holder, okay, and a red candle for this, okay. Obviously, something like a candle snuffer will help, though a lot of people probably want to just blow the candle out. That's totally up to you. You're obviously going to need something like matches or a lighter. And for this particular meditation, if you want to add a physical aid to this, you can use a blindfold for your eyes, okay? Because we're going to be covering the eyes at the midpoint of this meditation. So again, candle holder, red candle, matches minimally, and then usually like some type of physical aid. It might be necessary if you want to use that, and if that becomes an object, I will mention that in the meditation section of each video. Okay, so when you do this, of course, you want to make sure that there are no other lights on in the room. So a darkened room for this meditation is of preference, okay? And then naturally you want to, what we're going to do is, even though I have my lights on, I'm still going to light the candle. Okay. And of course, that sucks. Alright, so let me kind of adjust this a little bit. Alright, so my candle flame is kind of waving around there a little bit because of my AC going over there. But the first step, you want to go ahead and light the candle. And you can stand up when doing this if you want, but sitting in a comfortable position, I think, since you're going to be doing this for a while, is probably best, okay? So the candle is your focal point in this practice. And again, all your other lights are off at this point, okay? Simply what you want to do is just breathe deeply and focus all of your attention on the flame of the candle at this point. Just take that sense in there and continue that for a couple breaths. Imagine that as you inhale and exhale, the flame moves and grows with your breath, okay? So you're kind of, that's kind of going in sync there. Okay, now if you want to go ahead and use any type of words of power or anything like that, you can do at this point. Typically the word Voven is actually is sometimes used in the situation, and Voven is an Enochian word that translates into the word dragon. Okay, so we're basically dealing with dragon energy at this point. So what you want to do is feel the inner flame. Okay, once you've connected with this candle, want to feel the inner flame rising within you, fairly similar to doing Kundalini work here, but you want to start with the soles of the feet, okay, and bring that energy up through the soles of your feet and through your spine, and you want to bring that up and out through the top of your head, okay, and this should feel like your entire body is being set on fire at this point, okay. So you may have the sensation of warmth in your like across the entirety of your body. Okay, take this energy and mold your aura into the shape of a dragon. Okay. Now, once you have that sense, you want to go ahead and blow out the candle. And close your eyes and move your attention to your inner sight. Okay, and this is where your blindfold comes in. If you want to go ahead and use that blindfold as a physical aid to block out any other ambient light source, then that's fine. Okay, but you want to feel with your inner eyes and see the world using the eyes of a dragon, okay? When we use our dragon eyes, we're able to see through barriers and illusions cast throughout the world, okay? People who talk about, this could be lies and perceptions that people surround us with, as we grow up in our society and our culture. Okay, we're also able to observe differences in our perception with the objects in the room that surround us, as well as our general environment. Okay. You want to perceive that every object is glowing with their own light. Each object has their own aura, each object has their own energy, and it's vibrating at their own rate, at their own energy. Okay, and then finally you also want to see this dragon energy current pouring through the room, through the gateways of the mundane world, and from the other side, or the astral world, and see the veil that has been cast over our physical eyes, and see that being shattered by your new sight, by your dragon eyes at this point. Okay. When you're done with the meditation, obviously at that point you can go ahead and close out, remove the blindfold, and then return to your normal consciousness at that point. Okay. And that is basically the end of the clairvoyance meditation. Now, you can do this every day if you want. There's not a problem with that. It's not like Kundalini energy that can be a problem if you take in too much. Obviously, the amount of time, again, that you put into it is going to be what you get out of it. If you have time to do it every day, do it every day. That's fine. If you don't, obviously do it when you can. So with that, we're going to go ahead and pause the video at this point, and then we will get into our discussion on Clairaudience. Alright, afternoon everyone, and we are continuing with our Back to Basics series, part 5, developing our magical senses. Okay, and we are now talking about clairaudience. Okay, clairaudience is our psychic sense of hearing and affects the perception of sound, okay, that we receive. In magic, this refers to perceiving sounds and extrasensory vibrations with the inner ears. Okay, clairvoyance and clairaudience, as I said, are usually developed at or about the same time. when you generally start this type of development. Okay, this is especially true for those practicing spirit evocations. Okay, and this skill can be used to control internal dialogue while opening yourself to the sounds and clairaudience sensations of the other side or the astral realm, as well as other planes and spheres of existence. Okay, it is common to experience physical sensations when doing this work. Sensations like burning or itching of the ears, and sometimes even pain might be experienced. Okay, don't let that discourage you. It's just a natural process of the development of this type of sense. Okay. At first, your inner hearing may only receive muffled sounds, such as noises, chattering, and whispers and voices. And in other words, like you end up talking to people who are schizophrenic and stuff like that, and they say, "Oh, I'm hearing voices, or I'm hearing whispers, stuff like that." Probably similar to that effect. Okay, rather than so you may experience something like that rather than actual sounds and messages. It's going to be distorted. You're not going to be able to distinguish or understand it in the beginning. But usually what happens is that you end up picking up voices and sounds from around your neighborhood. The rants and the banters and conversations and that type of stuff are sometimes possible if you choose to focus on those. Okay, I'm not gonna say you're gonna have super hearing like Superman, but okay. Again, some people report that when they develop this type of ability, that these things do happen. So don't be too alarmed, if it does. Okay, when your mind does get attuned to these noises and is able to open up to the experiences, you will be able to attune your inner ears to the sounds and voices of the astral plane or other planes or other dimensions. Okay, a lot of the time in the beginning, again, this is going to come through as a ringing in the ear, or whispers, wailing or screaming or buzzing or hissing or howling, or all those sorts of things. No, we're not talking about having like mad passionate sex at this point, but anyways, don't know where that came from. You'll also be able to pick up voices from spirits, perhaps God forms, goddess forms trying to talk to you, get to get your attention. If your sense of clairvoyance is stronger than your sense of clairaudience, sounds and noises from these other dimensions will be sometimes translated into more visual sensations that you will be able to perceive, okay, that you will be able to understand more. So shapes and forms, glyphs and sigils are very commonplace. Might also be images as well. Also messages received in other languages that you normally don't speak or can't understand in your normal life will often take the form of written words or pictures that will be better understood by you. So you make a contact with the spirit, and it sounds like they're talking in Latin, and you don't know Latin. Okay, more than likely you're going to end up getting some type of imagery through to help you understand what it is that they're trying to communicate with you. Eventually, though, all that'll go away, and you'll be able to end up picking up, the normal conversation with that entity. Okay. So, the meditation regarding clairaudience. Okay, so we explore the sixth sense and try to attune our inner ear to other people or places, and you also are learning to interact with beings that exist in other dimensions when you are developing the skill. Okay, their language may be translated again by your consciousness to sounds and noises or visual sensations or impressions, again, such as glyphs or sigils or symbols, anything like that. Okay, as we go along, learn to explore this new power and enjoy the experience. Okay, enjoying this experience is kind of important. If you don't enjoy it, then you're probably not going to do it, and you're not going to want to develop it. You're going to get frustrated. Okay, again, for the simple meditations, again, we need a candle holder, or if you just use a big pillar candle, that's up to you, but I use a candle holder, a red candle, matches, or a lighter. For this, earplugs, okay, are a recommendation for physical aid, okay, when doing this ritual. I'm sorry, this meditation. So again, we want to light. Oh, we're gonna get my matches. I'm kind of old school here. Alright, I think I'm just going to leave this candle burning for the entirety of this video, make it a little bit easier, and I'll waste less matches. Okay, anyways, you want to light your red candle, sit or stand in a comfortable position. Again, I recommend sitting. It's just what I prefer. Alright, breathe deeply for a couple moments, relax, let that tension go. Put all your focus and all your attention on the flame of the candle. Mine is obviously dancing around a lot because I have my AC going here a little bit. Okay. Imagine that the flame of the candle moves and grows with your breath. Okay. And again, we can combine this visualization with chanting. Any type of word of power that you like. In particular, we are going to use, again, the word Vovin, which translates into dragon and is an Enochian word, okay? As you feel this inner flame rising within you, again, we're starting with the soles of the feet. We want to bring that energy up through the soles of our feet and up through our spine, up and out to the top of the head, okay? And again, this is going to feel like your body is on fire. Okay, you're going to have that sensation there, a lot of warmth probably building up. That's going to be a normal feeling, okay? Again, we're going to mold our aura into the shape of the dragon in order to use our dragon ears or our new senses, okay? Take as much time as you need to do this. Okay, once you've completed that, you have your shape, okay, and you have that transformation. Go ahead and extinguish the candle, okay, and then you want to close your eyes and move your attention to your sense of hearing. Okay, when you do this, you're probably going to end up feeling like your ears are burning. You might have a burning sensation or itching sensation with your ears while you do this exercise. But then eventually your physical sense of hearing will shut off and you'll begin to hear the sounds around you with your inner ears. Again, if you want to use a physical aid with this in order to help with that, get a good pair of quality earplugs, and that's going to help you out. Now, again, we're going to be using our dragon ears at this point. We're using our magical sense, our magical sense of hearing, and with your sharpened sense of hearing, you are going to be able to perceive auditory sensations that are not normally made possible or made available in our regular physical world. Okay, so when you are focusing on this, you again are probably going to hear a lot of distortion in the beginning, but over time and with practice, you're going to be able to hear the voices of spirits calling for you. They want to work with you. They want to get your attention, or God forms or Goddess formed, and you want to keep that in mind. Okay, so you're not necessarily going crazy. You're just developing something that your normal everyday person doesn't experience. When you're done with the exercise, of course, take as much time as you need to with this exercise. I generally recommend 10 or 15 minutes. You could go longer if you like. You could go shorter if you like. It all depends on the time constraint that you have for this. But once you're done, close off the working, return to your normal consciousness, and then go about your business. Okay? And that is going to be the end of our Clairaudience session. So let's go ahead and pause the video at this point. And then we'll come back and start the third session here and regarding our magical senses. Alright, and we are back, and we are doing the third segment in developing our magical senses. Here we are talking about Clairscent, okay, scent as in smell, okay. Clairscent is your psychic smell, and in magic, this ability is perceived. In magic, this is the ability to perceive odors or fragrances that are either not in our normal surrounding or transmitted through, or those senses that are transmitted through planes or other dimensions, okay? Each entity or place or realm or dimension manifests not only its own visual imagery and sounds, but also their own characteristics of smell, okay? These smells are usually beyond our normal level ability to detect with our normal perception of smell. As you work with entities, particularly through spirit evocations, you will develop this ability. You will end up noticing that entities have their own particular odor or scent as you continue to work with them. Okay. This psychic perception is not limited to our physical organs. Therefore, the scope and of these senses used in the magical experience is taken beyond all these limitations. Okay, this practice is often accompanied by physical sensations, and these are usually sensations that lead with difficulties in breathing. Okay, so if you have asthma, you probably want to, or have a breathing disorder, you might want to take a little bit of precaution in this. Okay. However, after which the inner senses of smell become attuned to the odors and fragrances from the astral realm or other dimensions, and then are either rapidly sorry, brain fart there. I kind of read the wrong line there. So again, sometimes there are difficulties with breathing again, and then so the inner sense of smell becomes attuned to the odors and fragrances from the other side or other dimensions. Okay, so at first, these smells will be mundane and familiar. It's going to be a lot of familiar smells, herbs, flowers, say like salty water, ocean smells, forest, whatever whatever you normally perceive to be as, say, like part of your normal neighborhood or your culture or something like that, okay, or society. Then they will come. Then there will be a point where the sense from these other planes will begin to materialize through your inner senses, okay? And they will begin to expose you to a multitude of smells that you generally just don't notice, okay? Smells throughout the entire universe, okay? And this will reveal that everything has its own smell, and it's going to be odd and different, and it's going to be a unusual experience, okay, in the beginning. But eventually, this is the sense of smell. This new sense of smell will become sharper and clearer over time. This ability is can be intensified if you are a magical practitioner that works with shape-shifting magic. This will intensify that. Okay, so it'll more or less connect with that bestial consciousness that is that it's being exposed to. All right. The meditation. The meditation for Clairscent. The power of the psychic sense of smell is sharp and sensitive. Think about the sense of smell in relation to predatory beasts that can, smell their prey. And this is kind of what I was trying to touch on just a moment ago, and my words just got all jumbled. I do apologize. So this is in relation to their sense of smell. As you develop this, your sense of smell does get stronger and perceives other smells throughout the entire universe, and you are then able to perceive these smells beyond also time and space. Okay. Again, with all of these meditations, the candle holder and a red candle is going to be needed, as well as something to light the candle with. If you do want a physical aid with something like this, something to plug the nose, say like a nose plug that swimmers might use, would be beneficial for something like this. Okay, so again, we want to make sure that we go ahead and light our candle in the beginning and stand or sit in a comfortable position. Breathe deeply for a couple moments, release that stress, and just focus all your attention on the candle flame. And then imagine that the flame moves and grows with your breath. And again, we are using the word Vovin at this point. Again, it translates into the word dragon. So we will be using our dragon senses pretty much throughout all of these exercises, okay? Again, the basic meditation for this is we're pulling this inner fire, this inner flame up through the soles of our feet and up our spine and up through the top of our head, okay? And then we're going to feel this. It's going to feel like our body is being set on fire again, okay? This is just like the very basics of the meditation. Okay, and then we're going to mold our aura into the shape of the dragon. We want to do this because we want to access our sense of dragon smell. Okay, take as much time as you need to do this. When you're ready to move forward, you blow out the candle or extinguish the candle flame at that point. Close your eyes and move your attention to your sense of smell, and then try to attune your inner sense of smell to the energies around you. Again, if you want to use a physical aid for this, to block the nose, that's totally fine. I recommend you get nose plugs that normally swimmers would use for something like this. And again, this is in order to block the nose while in order to breathe through you're gonna have to breathe through your mouth basically. Okay. Okay, when we are doing this meditation, we want to focus on receiving our olfactory perceptions through our mind without paying too much attention to our other physical organs when we do this. After a while, we will get the sensation that our physical sense has been shut off, and at that point, an entire different set of extrasensory, the different set of perceptions will take place at that point. We'll begin to identify those extrasensory fragrances that will be open for us to explore at this point through our new magical sense. Focus on the distinctive smells that are coming through at the time. This could be distinctive, say, through like the sense of night, which actually sounds kind of weird, but I mean that's what we're kind of going for here, or daytime, or anything else. Okay, the sense of smell of, we're kind of going beyond that. Okay, so what does sunlight smell like? It sounds kind of weird, but go with it. Okay. Envision that all this carries with it something else. All this carries new odors and new fragrances from the astral realm and other dimensions and other beings. Okay. When you are done with the meditation, obviously go ahead and close it out, and you're done at that point with the meditation. And I know what I just mentioned, it sounds cockamamie, it sounds like bullshit, like, sense of the night, sense of day, scent of sunlight. But when we get into the next one, which is our magical sense of taste, you're going to be doing the same things here, except through a different sense. Our sense of taste, our sense of gustation there. So, again, some of these are not generally developed through normal magical practice with people, okay? Yeah, most people will probably just do like the first two, Clairvoyance, Clairaudience. So, if this is new, which it generally is for all of us, or most of us at this point, it's going to seem a little odd, but go with it. If it's really something that you want to develop, by all means, you're going to have to go through the exercise. If it's not something if you don't want to develop it, then that's fine, and obviously move on with another one. Or you can stop at this point and just say, hey, I don't want to do any more of these. I'm good with just like, the basics. But I do recommend that you at least try the meditation a couple times before you decide that you no longer want to develop it, or if you want to keep going. So let's go ahead and stop the video at this point, and then we'll be getting into our psychic sense of taste. Talk about that a little bit, go through the meditation, which is, again, you are probably getting the very sense of the idea that everything has a very basic format to it. All you need to do is focus on that particular magical sense that we're developing at this point. So let me go ahead and stop the video really quick, and then we're going to get into our sense of taste. Alright folks, and we are now talking about Clairgustance, okay, which is our psychic sense of taste. And after this, we do have two more senses, I believe. After that, we're done with this video series, so this is going to be a bit of a long one here. So just kind of, bear along here, and we'll get to the end in just a bit. Is our ability to perceive the essence of spiritual and ethereal substances through taste. Okay, this ability isn't often developed and is probably one of the most difficult to develop for some people, since the sense of taste is rarely explored in any type of ritual work, really. But if it's done properly, the practitioner's mind will be open to a wide range of tastes and flavors that you have never been experienced before, especially since this combines with our visual and auditory perceptions. So if you're developing clairvoyance and clairaudience, this is going to be heightened a little bit by those developments, or by developing those skills. So when we are first developing this ability, physical sensations and difficulties with breathing, choking, and the urge to vomit may be common. Okay, so again, if you have some breathing disorder, asthma, or something like that, do take precautions. Approach this meditation with you want to approach it slowly. Okay, don't just go blindly into it. Okay, take it easy in the beginning. If we can get past that, however, just remember to stay calm and breathe in a steady rhythm, and eventually these new energies will balance themselves. Okay. Again, this practice does involve the vision of transformation into the shape of the dragon, and this also releases our animal instincts and awakens our bestial consciousness, similar to what Clairscent does for us with the sense of smell. If you do manage to awaken the sense of taste through Clairgustance, and you fully enjoy the experience, you will be able to taste a wide range of things throughout the universe, and we're talking like very odd things, okay? Air and wind, various objects, even living beings and entities, tasting these energies of people, especially people around us, is often an intense and very unusual experience, especially in the beginning, when we learn to open and access this ability. Not only is this energy itself very odd and different in the beginning, but also how we see people and feel and think at the particular moment, and the sense of tasting takes on a whole new essence of the it goes beyond that mundane sense of normal taste. Okay, it's just a completely different level. So if you want to experience weird, okay, this is probably about as weird as it's going to get. Okay, the meditation for Clairgustance. Okay, this is a deeper, more profound opening for our sense of taste. It's going to open you to new flavors that you've never experienced before. Okay, and you can now, for instance, drink in the essence of the moon or the sun, or taste the sweet or bitter substance of the currents of air, or energies that flow through the astral gates. Interact with dwellers from other realms and dimensions through the communion of these senses. Even tastes that you already know from experiences around in your normal everyday life will begin to change and will be experienced on a completely different level than what you are normally attuned to. Okay, again, this meditation requires candle holder, red candle, and matches or a lighter. I've just kind of let my candle keep burning here, simply because I don't want to keep wasting matches. Okay, go ahead and light your red candle, sit comfortably or stand comfortably in a position that is good for you. Breathe deeply, release all that tension, and get your focus attention to the flame in the candle there. Imagine that the candle flame moves and grows with your breath. Of course, again, mine is just whipping around there because of my AC, so don't worry too much about that. And again, we're going to be using the word Vovin for this chant here. Again, we want to transform ourselves into the form of the dragon, and we're going to perform this through the basic meditation. Bring this fiery energy up through the soles of our feet and up our spine and through the top of our head. Feel the sensation of your body burning, this burning sensation, this heat on your body as you transform and mold your aura into the shape of the dragon. And we are going to be obviously using our sense of taste through our dragon senses at this point. Take as much time as you need to go ahead and make this transformation and do this meditation that you need to at this point. When you're ready to move forward, go ahead, extinguish your candle, okay, and then close your eyes and move your attention to your sense of taste. However, we do not want to shut off our other psychic abilities. Okay, if you have developed any other psychic abilities at this point, do not shut them off. Your sense of smell, your sense of sight, your sense of hearing, so your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, your clairscent, do not remove those, okay? Since those are already developed or are already being developed, adding those to this particular meditation is going to heighten your sense and your experience, okay? So combine them all while you're focusing on the sense of taste, while using your dragon sense of taste here, and you'll be able to eventually experience the world around you through these sharpened senses. Again, it's gonna take, this particular one is going to take a lot of work, just because it's not something that a lot of people go through. Okay, but if you get it right and you take the time to do it, it's going to be rewarding for you, especially in your practice at a later date. Okay. Of course, when you're done with the meditation at that point, go ahead and close out, and then return to your normal consciousness and go about your day at that point. Okay, and that's going to end our discussion on Clairgustance, or our psychic the sense of taste. I'm going to go ahead and pause the video at this point, and then we'll be getting into our next magical sense, which is Clairtangency, and which is our psychic sense of touch. And then we have one more after that, which is our developing our sixth sense, and then we're going to be done with the video. So I'll be right back here, folks. One moment. Okay, and we are back, and we are talking about Clairtangency. This ability is often referred to as psychometry, or basically our psychic touch. This extrasensory perception corresponds to the physical sense of touch, obviously, and in magic, this ability makes the visual experience more tangible for us. Subtle impulses and vibrations of energy are translated through our sense of touch and sorry for the stammering there, folks, and then is translated into physical impressions, which creates a connection between our psychic manifestation and our physical experience. This ability is often used to obtain information about objects or their owners by touching them. So we've probably seen TV shows or shows like that use police officers use a psychic detective to help them with their work. You often see this person. They say, do you have an object of the person that belonged to the person or that they've touched recently or something like that? This is what we're basically talking about. They give the person that psychic detective like a jacket, and they go, oh, okay, well, this is what I'm getting. This is what I'm perceiving. Here's the images. Okay, this is what we're talking about is psychometry or psychic touch. Okay, the skill is sometimes also known as object reading. Okay, the sense of touch is usually associated with the palms of the hands. Okay, but it's actually experienced through the entirety of the skin, not just the hands, but the entirety of the body, really, and thus affects the entire body. In rites of magic, this ability is especially useful when we summon energies from other realms and dimensions to manifest in the physical plane. Okay? Physical sensations experienced in this practice do include heat and electrical vibrations and tangible manifestations of energy. Sometimes these are strong and can be painful at times, and other times they can be pleasant. Okay, this is sometimes accompanied either through ecstatic feelings of power or through disappointment because of the limitations of the physical body, especially when it's not able to feel the total of the summoned forces. Okay, while assuming the form of the dragon, you will be experiencing additional transformation to your arms and hands. Okay, these will take on the form of snakes, and that actually sounds kind of weird, but again, this is what happens when you develop these skills. Weird shit happens. Okay, so basically, in your meditation, that's what's going to happen. In your arms and hands, they're going to take on the form of snakes. And while you extend your hands, you're able to touch, and you're still able to touch people and perceive things through touch, using your normal hands, especially to read objects and to read people. The snake hands can be used for attacking a target as well, thus revealing new aspects to this interesting skill through the development of the skill. And that's going to have to be something that you learn to develop on your own if that's something you want to do. I'm not going to get into that during this video segment. Alright, the meditation for Clairtangency. Combine this feeling with other awakened senses, of course, activated through the previous workings. All these dragon senses, the manifestation of your primal dragon force, are going to be new sensations for you. Obviously, become as one with these senses and explore how it feels to be a living manifestation of this primal current, of this dragon force, this dragon energy. See the universe with the eyes of the dragon, experience the world with the senses of the dragon, which of course are not limited by any type of physical constraints. Alright, so this particular, again, meditation, red candle, candle holder, matches, or a lighter, light the candle, sit in a comfortable position, breathe deeply, clear your mind, get your attention focused on the flame. However, this time we're not looking to affect the flame really through getting it to grow or getting it to move. We're really looking at this point is to put our hands over the candle. You don't want to get too close, obviously, because you don't want to burn the shit out of yourself. Okay, but you do want your both palms facing down. Okay, obviously downwards over the candle, and focus on the heat radiating from the flame. Again, that's going to be different for everybody. You don't want to, again, get it too close because you don't want to burn the shit out of yourself. But do what is comfortable for you. Imagine that this moves and grows with your breath. Feel the fiery dragon current spreading over your hands and over the entire body, setting it on fire. And this fills your aura with this flaming essence, and then see and take the shape of the dragon as you did in the other meditations. Again, we're combining this visualization with the word woven again, and then when you are ready, take as much time as you need to go ahead and do this visualization, and when you're ready, go ahead and extinguish the candle, and then close your eyes and move your attention to the energies of the night side, okay? And that's basically your Clairaudience energies, your Clairaudience sphere. See this energy enter your body through your hands and the skin, and basically just absorb through your entire body, and then combine this feeling with your other senses that you have awakened already and activated through your previous workings. So obviously your sense of smell, your sense of taste, vision, and your hearing. Okay, anytime that these last ones really are heightened more as you include the additional skills or senses that you developed already. When you're done with the meditation, obviously go ahead and close it out, and then return to your normal consciousness, and then you're good to go at that point. Go ahead about your day, and you're done at that point. So that's Clairtangency, or psychic touch. I'm going to go ahead and obviously pause the video at this point, and then we're going to talk about the last one, which is going to be Sixth Sense, and then we're going to be done with this video. I'll be right back. Alright folks, and we are back and talking about the last of our magical senses that we're going to develop, and that is going to be the sixth sense. Okay, and in order to adjust yourself to the current of the dragon energy that we're developing at this point, it's not just enough to obviously awaken our 5 magical senses that we've been talking about up to this point, but is necessary to combine them into this last one, which we refer to as the Sixth Sense. This is going to awaken feelings within the whole body. The overall concept here is that the highly developed intuition allows for the access to higher guidance, information from other planes, so omnipotent intelligence, for instance, other planes, dimensions, other beings. And the first step here obviously is to awaken your psychic senses, but once all those psychic senses are awakened and activated, you need to you'll need to obviously learn how to use them in your magical operations. Okay. Otherwise, if you just start going in blindly after you've been developing these for a while, the transmissions and the signals you're going to be receiving from the astral side, from god forms and goddesses and entities, demons, angelic, or otherwise, are going to prove to be disturbing or perhaps even terrifying for you if you're not ready for it. Okay, so this work does enhance your intuition and empathy and opens your mind for the experience of the world that exists beyond our normal understanding and our physical senses. Okay, it's not uncommon to experience spontaneous precognition, as well as insights into past and present and future events, but also to perceive spirits and entities appearing around you at unexpected times. Even to have prophetic dreams and visions and so many other sensations. It's too far or too many to name here. I will say, for a word of warning, that if you do go this far, a lot of people think this is like, okay, great, I'm going to be able to start perceiving these spirits, and I'm going to start, getting all these, have access to all this information and new experiences and all that. But it can be a problem for a lot of people, especially when entities start appearing and they start talking to you and they want to get your attention, they want to start working with you. It could be very overwhelming for a lot of people. And on the opposite side, as you're developing these skills, and you are attracting these entities that want to work with you, you're also attracting entities that just they're just attracting you because of the development of these skills, because they're detecting these new energies and they're looking for a means to probably feed on you rather than work with you. So you got to take everything with a little bit of precaution here as you go through this. Okay, I'm gonna move my camera up since I'm not burning a candle anymore. Okay, so again, you might think that this all sounds great and it's not like a bad idea, but again, when you develop your intuitions and you enough and you go through all these experiences and all these phenomena, you're quickly learning that these abilities can be a double-edged sword for you or even others around you. Spontaneous visions and transmissions from the astral realm or other dimensions that come through may come when you're at work, or just very unexpected and unusual times. You don't want to be sitting there. Say like if you're an attorney, you don't want to be in the middle of a deliberation in court, and then entity just kind of show up and say, hey, I got something for you, because it's going to be a little bit of a problem for you. People are expecting you to act in a rational way, and you're saying, hey, I got this fucking entity over here that's trying to get my attention. It's taking my mind off the situation. That could be a problem. So other things that can happen is development of empathy. When you're sensing other people and other situations around you, you can become sick or depressed when you're too close to people who are suffering from illnesses and crises and all that type of stuff. Are just real manifestations of the development of some of these or all of these skills. Okay. Prophetic dreams that come true soon after you have them can be upsetting in a lot of ways, especially if a lot of these happen to be nightmares or they concern situations with friends or family in your day-to-day life. When we see these types of things, it can be very disconcerting for us, because now we're seeing more. We're looking into our reality through a different frequency. Really, is what's happening. We're tuning in through a different frequency, and these images can be just flood in a lot, especially in the beginning, if we're not careful. And sometimes these images can come in randomly and at unwanted times, and again, that can prove difficulty for us in our lives. Okay, so when you do your tuning and adjusting of your mind into the world and beyond, and your new sensory perceptions, okay, you want to basically focus on your intent. Now, this is going to come, you're going to have to learn how to do that, okay, and on your own. But if the great thing is that if you're in the magical arts and you know somebody who's a medium or something like that, I would recommend that you talk to somebody who's already doing spirit work, doing channeling work. They could probably help you with that focus to keep these images in check. Okay. Now, a lot of people would say that it's often best to leave these magical senses to develop them naturally over time and with systematic practice. And some will probably tell you that it's not a good idea to do this, practice at all. However, if you want to enhance your psychic powers, these exercises provided here will help to direct your attention to particular points of focus. Okay. You can train these separately. You can learn to combine them in any way that you want. By doing so, you basically make yourself a living vessel for the reception of dragon energy that is constantly moving through us, our world, and our environment. Simple meditations work best in this, especially with this practice, but you can also train your intuition through, to do other things, automatic writing, again, tarot card reading, remote viewing, basically any exercise that helps to employ psychic senses in a heightened way and to receive this information that you're trying to make sense of. There are times that you do need to test your abilities and the boundaries and decide for yourself if you want to be empowered in that moment, and what to leave for later, as far as what you need to get for the moment, and then go back later and decipher what's going on. You should also never forget that grounding is an important part of this practice, so balance your energies so that you're not feeling overwhelmed. That can, obviously experience through your normal practice. Again, this is why I recommend that if you've been in the magical path for a while and you know somebody who's a psychic or someone who's a spirit medium, they know how to channel the energy, they could probably give you some pointers on how to go ahead and do that in the best way. I'm sure that there's also a good supply of books out there that can that you might be led to in order to read and do that as well. However, the the sixth sense, it really is the gateway to the other side, to the astral realm. And if you want to experience that, you want to experience other dimensions and unseen worlds in their entirety, you're going to have to learn to develop these psychic powers and these psychic abilities, develop your intuition, and decide on the path that you want to go to at that point. Right, so with that, folks, we are pretty much done with this video. I do appreciate you folks for stopping by to my channel today and bearing with me through this particular video. I know it's going to be a long one. I'm thinking probably like an hour and a half long, if not longer. But again, I'm going to have everything broken up as far as each individual segment there. And if this is something that you really want to do, you really want to develop these abilities, start with the first one, go with clairvoyance or and then kind of go from there. Clairvoyance and clairaudience, I would say, are at least the most minimum. Again, and when it comes to developing your sixth sense, obviously if that's something you want to develop, you're going to have to go through developing the other senses as well. You just can't go about it with two senses, okay? So I bid you a very fond farewell, folks. I thank my brothers and sisters for joining us here today. Peace and farewell to you all. Okay, infernal blessings. And we'll be seeing you in the next video. Take care. Bye.